Hello, everybody. Wow, I've got 20 in the room already. Top people. Oh, so maybe it's not football night. Oh, hang on, it's just dropped right down to 13. Anyway, tonight's going to be a little bit different because at the end of the day, it's all about questions and answers. And so this week is going to be slightly different. It might go all the pants because what I'm going to do, as soon as I put in the intro video, I'll be looking at the comments and I'm going to say some questions that have been asked for me to do. And obviously I don't know everything. And I will say straight away, guys, this is only a guide. And I'm going to use your knowledge as well and just as mine and help out other people. Because I know a lot of people are watching for here in sunny Spain, but it's a lot of people from outside Spain that want to come here and I want to know a little bit more of the info, be it correct or not. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go through my usual stuff about Lobster, James Bond. There's a James Bond thing tomorrow night. It's the premiere here in Spain. I'm going to be doing a live show outside the cinema as the people come in. A lot of people are going to be dressed up. There's going to be a red carpet. There's going to be some guys dressed up as gangsters. It's going to be a fantastic night. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do that James Bond promotion first. So if you're anybody living in the, I'll just turn that down a little bit because it's a bit loud. So anybody in the Campasol area, I'm talking about Toltana, this is where it's going to be. If you can see it there, it's going to be at Toltana, 7:30 tomorrow night. If you haven't got your tickets, I presume you might better get them there. But if you go on to, just think about it, if you go to the Mabs Respite on B, they've got tickets. Also, if you go to Best Wishes, they've got tickets. It's €20. It's going to be, as you can see, red carpet, champagne, those canapé things. It's going to be a little dance group before the show starts. It's 2 hours, 43 minutes, I believe. It's going to be a long night. But I'll be there at the front and just, you can say that. So I'll come off that now. All that gets carried away. So that's the James Bond thing out of the way. Right, another thing is Lobster. As you can probably know, Lobster's been promoting me, so I've only got to be fair to promote Lobster. But I've got a deal with Lobster. If you phone this number with Lobster, which is 711-000-711, it's a free number, and the promotion code is Expat and Mazarron. And what will happen, they will send you a free SIM card. The first month will be free. Depending on what package you take, there's only 3 packages, small, medium, and large. I'm not really going to go into what it is, but the small package is 12 gig, and it's only €12, and that's including the tax on it. And also, you're not tied into any contract, so if you don't like it, you can always just cancel it. It's the only English-speaking site in Spain, Lobster. So I've done Lobster, top people they are. The other thing is the coffee fund. I've had nothing. No, nothing's coming to my coffee fund. Now, don't forget, guys, I call it a coffee fund, but it's really more to help me out when I go out for fuel and some of the equipment that I buy to try and make it a little bit more presentable. Nothing worse than me outside and the wind's blowing, you can't hear what I'm talking about. Probably don't want to hear me what I'm talking about, but anyway. That's what the coffee. I've had nothing this week, unfortunately. But most appreciate if anybody could. If you want to put anything into the coffee fund, if you look below this video and any other video, there's a link to my PayPal. And yeah, most appreciate it. Also, the Expat and Mazarron merchandise. You can get a mug. I think it's £5 plus postage. What about a nice cup of tea or cup of coffee? And don't forget, we do T-shirts. I think you do everything now. If you go onto the site, there's a link below this video to that link. So yeah, support Expat and Mazarron. That would be lovely. One more thing. I believe I haven't got it. Currency is direct. It's a money exchange thing. Now, I use them. And the main reason I use them, maybe it's not the best deal. I mean, everybody says, oh, travel-wise or whatever, they still do a fantastic. What I like about it, where I am on campus, there's an office. There's nothing better than if there's a problem, I can go in the office and they can sort it for me. They can actually do it, help me out. I'm not all that savvy on the computer. So currencies, if you mention Expat and Mazarron, you won't get a discount, but I'll get a little bit. I'll get a few pennies out of it. Have I finished all the stuff now? So tonight it's the 10 questions that I'm going to try and answer, and I'm hoping that you guys will answer it too. So what I'm going to do now, I've 5 minutes of babble. We'll go straight into the intro, and then we'll get on with it. So I've got to say straight away, Top Man Wayne, I thought I'd put you up there as well. And I think Kev has just come in with a comment there. Wish I had PayPal. But anyway, don't worry about it. As you can see below, you see this ticky tape thing. If you have got a question, guys, I'm not going to answer it tonight. I will answer it on the next show. So you can put it in the comments. So the very first question from Philip O'Kennedy, and now he asked, is now the time to buy in Spain or should I wait? The market there seems to have got very hot very quickly, and maybe wait and see strategy might be better. So obviously Phil's asking about, is it the time to buy? I think whenever is the time to buy, really. I mean, you know, what I've done, Phil, I've actually gone on to Google and typed it in, is it a time to buy property? And obviously, when you're trying to do this research, it sort of come up like the beginning of the year, obviously with the COVID, things were changing. And all I could get out of the buy now strategy was, if you have capital and owning a property in Spain has always been your dream, then 2021 could be the good year to do it. Countries with higher salaries will find it more affordable. I mean, what they're really saying is obviously Spain's cost of living is a lot lower in some countries, and I presume they're on about the UK. I mean, the price of property in the UK is really high, whereas the price of property here in Spain is pretty low. I mean, obviously, there are some parts of Spain that is really expensive, but some parts of Spain is really cheap. Obviously, this part is the southeast coast of Spain is pretty cheap. Obviously, the further you go up near Barcelona, then yeah, the price is going to climb a bit. If you go over to Madrid, it's going to be a bit more expensive if you go down. But there's always bargains there. It's always very hard to search on the internet, on especially estate agent sites. It is hard. I'm just looking here to see if anybody's come in with any ideas yet. Well done, Sean, at least. I'm just reading some of the comments there. At least I can put some money in the coffers. What is 50 pence in euros, says Steve. I ain't got a clue, Steve. I just don't worry about the exchange rate. But anyway, going back to buying out. I mean, I think the main thing is, Phil, is come over and have a look at the property, because at the end of the day, yeah, okay, so you see a property on the market for, say, 30,000 euros. That's a bargain. But when you get there and have a look at it, it's probably some old shack, or it's in some horrible place, or maybe it's not in a horrible place, but maybe it needs a lot of work doing to it. And I think that's one of the things you've got to do first. You've got to make sure that where you're moving to, you've got to enjoy living there. There's no point moving to a place you're not going to enjoy it. And that's, I think, I always say you've got to come here and have a look. I know it's difficult because obviously Spain's such a huge country, but you've got to try and whittle down the areas that you think you're going to be more comfortable in. Because Spain's, some of the questions here later on are going to explain some other problems that you're going to find here in Spain. But I think the main thing first is come over and have a look at some of the property and think, yeah, I can live it. Because I know some places a bit further up the coast, they've got a lot of new property, but they're making them smaller. So anything coming here now? Current exchange rate, I've just got, this is Chamois coming in at 115. Yeah, it's been about that on average, I suppose, at the moment. Here's one from Stuart. If you buy a property, then you see still only allowed to spend. Yeah, well, I mean, that's another thing. If it's obviously, if you're going to buy a holiday home, you can only stay in it for 90 days, 90 days out, 90 days in, sort of thing. I think once you get your head round it, it's not that bad. I've done an interview this week with Paul and Jeanette. I know they're watching, top people. Now they've got a holiday home, and to be quite honest, they're quite happy with coming over here for a month, going back to the UK, and then coming over for a week. And they've sort of arranged it. And I've also done an interview, it should be coming out next week, with Mike and Yvonne. They're on the same basis. They've got a holiday home. Obviously, they would love to stay out longer, but they are got their heads around it. Obviously, if you want to buy a property to live in it permanently, then you push people that's outside the EU, you've got to get a visa. And that does make things a bit of a pain. And we did talk about this 90-80, the 90-day rule, a couple of videos back on the live thing. I actually had Mike and Yvonne on with me, and we was discussing that. So if you want to go backtrack on the 90-80 day thing, that's great. So we're all going on to the 90-day thing. Talks going on regarding it. I think it's quite a lot of action groups taking this forward. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Placing the Sun website is the best source of property you can find. Yeah. I mean, end of the day, all these property sites will take anything on. They don't really look at them. They just take on the property. So it's still advisable to have a look. Obviously, use all the amenities. You can use Google, the road thingy, the Google, what do you call that now? You can go down the roads with Google. I mean, it's fantastic what you can do now. Google Maps is another one, Google Earth, all those aids will give you a good idea. Maybe rent. Yes, I mean, this is something else. A lot of people here in Spain always advise, if you thinking about buying a property, another good way is to rent for a short while. Just make sure it's for you, because you might not like it. Being on an urban, I didn't think I would like being on an urbanisation. I mean, to me, I love it. It's the community thing for me. But a lot of people might not like that. They might want to be out in the sticks. I'm doing a video with Andy, if he's watching tonight. A bit later on, he lives out in the sticks. He's got his own farm and animals, so I'll be talking to him a bit later on in the year. Yeah, so there's lots of options there. Personally, I still see prices increase. I mean, end of the day, prices, I think, here in Spain have been pretty settled. Obviously, with the COVID, they said the market's going to crash. Well, that never happened. And to be quite honest, there's plenty of housing here in Spain. So I think the price of property here in Spain is not going to be going through the roof. I've been checking through a few sites, especially down Malaga way. They've been saying price of property is going up. We're selling property. We haven't got any property because we're selling it too quick. Well, that's just estate agent spill, unfortunately. So property, I think, at the moment here in Spain has been pretty stable. It hasn't really gone up a lot and it hasn't really gone down a lot. So I would say doorbell. Malcolm, thank you very much. Street View, that's it, Stuart. You got it on the Google Street View, a fantastic little aid. That will take you down virtually every street. I mean, now they're doing not just streets, they're doing pathways and things like that. Street View is a brilliant aid. A good point. Spanish properties is not an investment. I think another thing is about when you're buying property here, I've seen a lot of people, they buy a 2-bed place and they completely strip it out. They spend a fortune on it. But when they come to sell it, they won't get their money back. That's what I mean. You've got to try and get out of the UK thing. In the UK, prices of property there is always going up. You're never going to see that crash at the moment. But here, a little bit different. I think property's been pretty stable. And we're coming in with the Street View again. That's what I like. I'm liking the idea of you guys getting involved with this. No expenses, lots of tax written out if you ain't a resident. I mean, this is the other thing about, obviously, if you'd be owning a property, there's going to be a tax. And unfortunately, I'm not the person you want to talk to about tax. I don't understand the tax here. There's a lot of people. If you watch Mike and Eve on the Between the Two Lakes, they've gone really into that side of it. I don't understand it. I've got an accountant that deals with all that because I've got private pensions, state pensions, and obviously money. And you pay tax. And obviously, if you've got property, if you're renting out property, I know some people have got property back in the UK, they use that as their income. Obviously, depending on what it is, you will be taxed on it. But don't ask me about tax. Anyway. I think we've done enough on the old. Here was it. I've got the piece of paper's blown out. Philip, hopefully that's answered the question. We're doing all right. Brian. Now, Brian Watts it is. Number 2 question. I'm thinking about renting a month. So October, November for one person in a small villa. The prices are normally given, and then it says plus utilities. Any idea about how much that would be? Now, good question that, Brian. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to come out of that a minute and put up hopefully this might help somebody. They took this off the notice board this morning on somebody's renting out it's a full tuner. It's 2-bed, obviously 1 bath, aircon. As you can see on there, it's long term plus bills. Now, obviously, that's what Brian's asking about is the plus bills bit. I'm gonna leave it on there a little bit longer. I'm not getting no money for this, but utility. Now, obviously, what we're talking about is gas and electric, and I would say it's gonna be what you normally pay, say back in the UK. It's not going to be a huge amount. It all depends on how much electric you're going to use. Obviously, in the winter time, because you're talking November, you've probably got to be putting on the heating a bit if you've got a like electric heater or something like that. And you won't be using much water. So, but what Vinny told me from Otherworld Properties, let's get his name right because I know it comes up on Facebook. They actually come up with text. Otherworld Properties. Now they do renting as well. And Vinny was telling me if you can find the month that you want to rent, and once you put it in you're going to accept it. It then comes up on the price that you're going to be paying for that month. Obviously, you've got to put a deposit down. I think you'll find a lot of companies won't give you the full price, obviously with utilities, mainly because they won't know what you're going to be using. That's what I'm trying to get at. What I'll do, I'll just knock that off now. Get back to the comments. Let's just see. I've got Phil thanking me from we're heading over next month to have a look. Phil, hopefully that's answered the question. That's all right, mate. But yeah, just come out and have a look, Phil. That's the main thing. After watching the property market for a few years. Yeah, I mean, I think another thing is you will find there's a lot of there is a lot of property on the market that is overpriced. Now, obviously, I was doing a villa for my gold visa thing, where if you want to apply for a gold visa here in Spain, you've got to spend over 500,000 euros. Now, it doesn't have to be one property. You can have 2 or 3, but you've got to buy them outright, sort of thing. And I was showing that property, and I personally thought it was a bit overpriced, but it's on a new golf course, so possibility that maybe there was that, and believe it or not, that was the cheapest property. There was one that was over $1 million, and somebody had already moved into that. So if people are going to pay it, then that's how the market will go with it. If people don't buy them, then they have to drop the price. And this is like when you see a property wherever, be it camp to sell, wherever. A lot of people have said we put in a cheeky offer, and you can, I mean, there's no harm in putting an offer in, be it cheeky or whatever. It depends on how desperate you are. If you love that property, you don't want it to go, then you're going to pay the full asking price. But if you think, I don't know, I'll just put in a cheeky offer, and I know a few people have done that, and it's happened. So yeah, so I'm just going to flick through neat handwriting. I'll fly a note. Sir Stuart's coming over Wednesday. Fantastic. I will call them. Well done, Stuart. You're top man. I'll do it quick if I was you, because they're probably going to go. Good price. Yeah, it is a good price. When I saw it, I thought, wow, that's why I took a photograph of it. So do you think we'll ever start a research? Yeah, Malcolm and Carol. Yeah, okay. Bit off track that, I suppose, but the council have agreed that they're going to resurface the main road going from C up to D. When that's going to start, I ain't got a clue. I would say it's probably going to start next year, but it's all been already agreed. So I'll come off that. But yeah, as far as I'm obviously not going to do the side roads. They're only doing the main from the bridge, I believe, right up to D. Stuart, I'm not going to answer that today. That's going to have to be next week. 34. Oh, there you are. Kev's answered it for you. Okay. Getting back to Brian then. Yeah. Now, some places actually you get like electric card. So if you're renting it, they give you this card. You put it into the meter, and you get, I don't know, like 20 euros worth of electric. Some of those throw in. Also, if I get this right, I always get this wrong. Airbnb I can't believe there's hundreds of Airbnb. Now I believe there are some on Campusel, but I know there's loads down in the port. And I've seen on there they start from 25 euros a night, especially for guys that want to only stay for a week. I know a lot of people seem to be traveling. They're coming up from Malaga way. I think I got some guys I'm meeting next week or so that they're traveling up the coast. So 25 a night. I presume that's everything. You know, you're just paying for those things. So yeah, check out the Airbnb. There's a few other of these. This is where you can rent out a room, isn't it? This is what that's all about. Right, okay, we'll just whack that up as well, because we're still this 180 day thing. It does get a little bit confusing. And I'll put up Sandra's thing as well. Okay, so hopefully, Brian, that's given you some insight. My next question is from Stafford, and he's asking, what is a digital certificate and how do people go about getting one? I heard there can be advantages for some advantages for some admin tasks for Spanish residents. Yeah. the digital signature. You're going to hear a lot about this in Spain, the digital signature. I'm just going to put up here. So Stuart's saying that it's so expensive. We walked past the beach bungalow. Yeah, I mean, some of the beach bungalows, especially down at Bolwavo, they're really expensive. But then you're paying for that view. Oh, Sean. Oh, Rob's in now, top man. Put a few quid in the top man, Phil. I'm loving you. Yeah, the digital signature. And I did write a bit about this. So checking on Google. So what I will say, I'll knock that off from, because he's a top man, Phil. Well, I'll come back to it in a minute. Digital signature. I never, to be honest, I never even heard of it. And then suddenly I had to apply this year, at the beginning of this year, January, I had to get an operator's license for my drone. Europe's gone into the drone registration palaver. So I went on to the ESA site and they said I needed a digital signature. So I thought, okay, go for that. I think it's called Clove. Now, if I go and put up, I think I did do a picture of it just to give some idea. Is that it? No, so what we got there? Oh, there it is. Yeah, digital signature. Okay, so this is probably the most, I wouldn't say it's the most popular one, but this is the one that I had to use. Every time I went into it to register, it just kept throwing me out. It just, and what it is really, it's just like an ID. It's just checking that who I'm supposed to be. Even though I got an NIE number and I've got my residential card as well, I just still had to photograph that and send that in as well. But trying to get this to work was a nightmare. In the end, I couldn't get it to work. It just kept on crashing and crashing. Now, some people's, Harvey, I know he's watching this, he tried it and now he actually got onto it and he says it's fantastic. Getting it working is the main problem. I've got to come out of that, go back into comments. Right, where am I? Okay. It was a nightmare. And I know it's true because I met a guy today. He's just sold up he had a business down in Malaga, and because of the COVID, he had to shut for nearly 12 months. It was costing me $2,000 a month. Anyway, and then he just couldn't carry on. So he sold up and he's moved up to Campersel now. But he had to go back, 2 days ago, back down to Malaga to sort it out. Now he's got everything on his digital signature. And it's mainly, especially when you're buying property, things like that, because you need documentation and things like that. You can deal with it yourself. And once you get onto it, it's like a QR code, and you can send it to your friends, or you can send it to your lawyer, things like that. It makes things so much easier. But he said the same thing. When he tried it himself, he couldn't get onto the site. And then and this is another thing about Spain. Each area of Spain, look, I call it a borough, Costa del Sol, they do it differently. Down in Malaga, they get a free I'm only telling you because he told me this. I can't say it 100% that he got a free translate. He went into the foreign department. They did it for him. It didn't cost him nothing. Now I know when I applied for it, it sort of cost me some money, but I couldn't even get it to work, so I never paid for it in the end. But he said he got the Spanish person to do it, and he had no problems. But doing it himself, he had a major problem. I'm going to read out what I've got. I checked up on Google about a digital certificate in Spain is needed to identify yourself on the internet and conduct and kind of formal transactions or business. By using a digital signature, your personal data is protected each time you make a online transaction. And then I found out that there's a digital signature and a digital certificate. Now, obviously, Stafford was asking about a digital certificate. What's the difference between a digital certificate and a digital signature? The digital signature is used identifying the owner of the document, whereas the digital certificate is a document that identifies the identifier of the organisation. That was, I mean, I don't forget, I've got this off the internet, and no doubt it's been translated from Spanish to English. That digital signatures are used to validate the sent data. So, to be honest, does that sound so confusing? I'm hoping somebody's put some information on that, and I can just see up here. Let's have a look here. What we got here? We got ArchiKit rental website. So hopefully, who's got actually going back to the rental thing. Looks like, oh, this is obviously for finding property and things like that. Thank you, Martel. Thank you much. Now, guys, use this on the side here. Does anyone find themselves singing America Dollar when they walk around the supermarket? Is Stuart saying, oh, Idealist? Yeah, I presume that's a property site. We got Thomas here. What, I don't know, what's that about? A lot of advertisers and private advertising rather than state agents, is that normal? Do they have the same rights as buying for agents? Shami, this is something I'm going to have to answer next week. Interesting. It is interesting. You're going to find that signature thing and his certificate's going to be coming up a lot lately. Now, obviously, Spain is trying to go futuristic, but you know what Spain's like when you get trying to get your Padron now. In some areas, you can go and do it online, but in Murcia, you got to go down to the town hall. You got to show them your old Padron. You got to show them your residential card, and you got to give them €2. But to me, it's keeping somebody in a job. But I know in some places you can do it online, and maybe you can even do it on your bank. And I know what Stuart is saying there. I pay my car tax, but obviously he's on about a digital signature, right? Okay, and yeah. I mean, I think it's going to help you out a lot if you can get on to the digital certificate. And Stafford, if you're watching, no doubt you are. You're probably more confused than me. But anyway, hopefully it's been some help. And I know Harvey, actually, when you asked the question, instead of waiting for me, he's actually shown you the link to that Clove site and to get onto it. So that question done. Okay. Angela. Now, Angela, she's sent me a question. Currently in a dilemma. I'll just come off that one there. Put that one on there. Or just get that one up. I wonder if it goes across borders. To be honest, Stuart, I wouldn't know. I would imagine it's just for Spain only. I think because this is where it's all revolving around the EU and things like that. Okay, I'm going to click that one off. Right, getting back to Angela. Now, Angela was asking, currently in a dilemma. Do I buy a property in England and then rent it out, or do I buy a property in the Campo and rent that out as either a holiday let or a long-term let? And is there a market in the current climate there for a holiday rental? Obviously, I prefer to have it as a holiday rental, so I don't have to, so I can use it myself when I'm allowed to come over here. But as always, I'm just curious with the COVID situation as whether this is financial variable. Okay, so virtually what Carol was trying to say is Carol on it, yeah. No, it's not. It's Carol. It's Angela. What Angela's trying to say is, do I buy a property in the UK to rent out, or do I buy a property in Spain to rent out? What are you going to get your best thing? And obviously, whoever you deal with renting is going to say, yeah, you're going to get so much money. It is a bit of dilemma because You've got to get false information. You know, I mean, we did think about renting our property out in the UK and using that as some sort of income. And I know some people that have done that. They've got a UK property they rent out. They've had some major problems with the tenants and have ended up having to sell it in the end because it had so much problems. But then I know other people that have got property in the UK that they rent out and they've had no problems and they do earn income. Obviously, you've got to think about there's to be some sort of tax with that as well. Spain, it is going to be the same sort of thing. Obviously, it's going to be more seasonal here in Spain. Yeah, do you rent it out long term? Do you just do it short term? And that's what I think you want, really. So if you did buy a property here, especially a holiday property that you rent out when you're not here. End of the day, Angela, it's your decision, really. No doubt some people are going to put up some information on that. I'm just looking at the comments. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the comments there. Okay, we're all right. Nobody's making any comments. We've got 72 in the house, which is good. So, Angela, I can't really help you on that. To me personally, I would think you'd be better off renting out in the UK because obviously there's a shortage of housing in the UK. People are either renting or they're trying to buy a property. The price of property in some places in the UK is astronomical. A lot of kids are still living with their parents. They want to get away from their mum and dad, and no doubt renting will seem a better method. And I would think renting, especially if you buy a property in the UK, depending on whereabouts it is, obviously you're going to get a better return. I think I might be wrong. No doubt somebody's going to say something. No, we got a holiday home here. It rents it out all year. I know somebody might beg to differ on that. But yeah, most people. Well, anyway, I'll chuck it out there for people to come up with anything. Let's have a look at what we got here. When I looked for a holiday let, the only people making money are the management companies. Well, that is true. Obviously, you do need somebody to look after your property. I mean, that's another thing when you buy a holiday home, you need it to be looked after. Because you don't want to turn up there and find out you have had a leaky pipe for the past 3 months. You wonder why your water bill's tripled, and it's leaked through to downstairs or whatever. It does always come with a cost. So it is something end of the day, Angela, it's something you're going to have to make that decision, really. But I'm just wondering, do you know why we can't talk about that next week? If you live in the UK, then it's better to do it in the UK because you can buy a holiday home with your touristy license, like tax in Spain. Yeah, that's very true. And I've got Sandra, you have far better legal rights renting a property in the UK than Spain. In Spain, the tax. Yeah, well, this is the thing about the squatting thing. Squatters, if you can see me, squatters here in Spain seem to have a lot of rights. Especially if they got a family. We do get squatters here, unfortunately. It does take, if you can get them out straight away, it's fantastic. But once they're settled in, but if they got a kid, it's a bit of a nightmare trying to get removed. So maybe that's something else that might put you off a bit. We got need a tourist license. Yeah, that's another thing about if you've got a rental. You're supposed to have a tourist badge outside your property. Now, obviously, some of these what you call them now. I'm just reading on there. The management companies they sort of take control of that, so you don't have to put. So obviously, by putting a sign out, and I've seen them on some places. I think I'm not 100%. I think it's AV. I might be wrong. On the property, which then makes it quite clear to any unscrupulous squatter, oh, that's a holiday home. Another good tale with squatters is if you got a car rental parked outside. UK property prices have gone up during COVID. Well done, Mike and Yvonne. I got that name right. Maybe. Yeah, well, that is always an option, Stuart. Squatting, you probably got more right squatting than obviously, but then, you know, would you want to do that? So, not much help there, Angela, but hopefully it's giving you some idea. And yet again, I still think you need to come out and maybe have a look at the area. I think like if you're down at the port, obviously, especially here, this where we are in Mazarron area, it's more Spanish, or even more Northern European. I'm talking about the Belgians and the French. They come down here for their holidays. And if you've got a place down on the port itself, you've probably got a good chance of getting it rental. But obviously, I know there's lots of people on campus who rent their properties out. So I'm just giving you an option there. Have I missed anything out here? So please, yeah, well done, Graham. Yes, you've got to keep your head safe. Hi, Sean, top man. Okay, so we finished with Angela, hopefully. Okay, Jean, right? Question from Jean. Once we take up Spanish residency, if after some years we want to return to England, would we be? So my right in, would we be immigrants and have to go through the same procedure like an English application for residency? I thought that's a good question, that, because I know what you're on about. Is obviously, I'll be living in Spain now for nearly 6 years, and I might think, okay, I've had enough now. I'm going to go back to the UK. And does that mean because it didn't make any difference, does it? I'm still English, I think. Would I be accepted? Obviously, yeah, I'm an immigrant. End of the day, because I'm living abroad now, I'm an immigrant. I call myself expat because I think expat sounds better than immigrant. And I don't want to go on to the ball between expat and immigrants. We're all the same. It's just a word. But going back to the UK, if you've still got your British passport, as far as I'm concerned, if you get rid of your British passport, yeah, then you got a problem. But if you keep your British passport, I reapplied for my passport off. I think I was here about 2 years and my passport was about to run out. I've got a new one, so I've still got my British passport because I'm still British or English, whatever you want to call it, or UK-ish now. But what I did do, Gene, I actually checked. I went onto the UK Gov site, which I've always said to get information. I went onto the UK Gov site, and it says here, return to the UK, blah, blah, blah. Leave the UK for as long as you want without losing your right to return, as long as you got your British passport. So that's what it's saying. And I know it's right because my mum had been living with, my mum and dad had been living down in Malaga. Unfortunately, my dad died. My mum obviously felt lonely, and she went back to Now, she'd been living in Spain for 30 years, and she went back to the UK, and she's living in what do you call it, like a rest home place, no problem. And that's as long as you got the British passport, you're still British, end of the day. Now, apparently, you can get dual nationality, which I can't hardly pronounce. I think Spain and the UK have got that as well. So you can apply for your Spanish nationality thing and have obviously your English as well. So you got the choice of both worlds then, because obviously a lot of people that moved to Spain when they're a lot younger, they've got jobs here, they've got a pension. But at the end of the day, if things did go whatever, they can still go back to the UK. The other option is, I think you get a better option if you get to France and get into a dinghy and just row across. You probably get a better property, but no. But It's a good question, that, Jim. Thankfully, I looked on the UK Gov site, and it said you can be as long as you like, but as long as you got your British passport. So don't lose your British passport. That's the word. Now, I've got another question from Jean. I'll just have a quick look, make sure if anybody come in with what yearly income. So Sally's asked. Sally, I'm going to have to ask that next week. This is what it's all about now. Questions are going to be for next week. I'm going for the questions for this week. For me, I want to rent a place for 30 days from, but the deposit, that is the bugger. Yeah. Obviously, depending on certain play, I might just jumped in. Top man, Andy. I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Just jumped in the dinghy. I thought we'd get a couple of those comments. Yes, Sean, I think you would be a British citizen, but a Spanish resident, unless you give up your British. Yes, that's very true. If I give up my British citizenship, then yeah, then that would be a bit of a problem. So I can safely say I won't. I did my bit for the country. Did. Yeah, couple of coffee. Well done, Wayne. Thank you, top man. So anyway, going back to Jean's next question. How are we doing for time? All right. I know jobs are hard to come by in Spain, but was wondering if my 24-year-old son, who will be coming with us to Campusel, could he possibly find a job at Consum or the golf course or something similar, rather than spending all his day on the PlayStation, or would it be very difficult? Now, no doubt I will get a few comments on this one, but be nice. But it's a good question, Gene. I think one of the main things here is obviously this area of Spain is not really industrial. A lot of people that I've met do a lot of online internet work, and that's how they earn their income. So if your son, if he's good on his PlayStation, he must be good on the internet. So you could probably do some sort of online work. And I know some people, they watch the car parks in the UK, and if somebody goes over the time, they earn a bit of money out of it. So you can earn money here online. Online's a big thing here, especially this part of the world, because this is a farming area. And obviously, out in the fields there, especially in the summer, especially in August when it's over the 40s, you don't want to be out in the fields. But this is a farming area, so the jobs here are pretty scarce, other than being a shop job, and those shop jobs, or even being over the bars, obviously being a waitress or waiter or cook. Most of them, I think, if you're a cook, you'd probably be all right. But if you just want to be a waiter, you need to speak Spanish. Yeah, and so if you can't speak Spanish, then on an urbanization like this, like Consu, they will still want you to speak Spanish. And obviously, they've got the big Tesco store down in the port. They will still ask that you can speak Spanish. There are. I mean, there's loads of voluntary jobs going around where you don't need to worry about your language. But if you want to earn an income, I think everybody else seems to think that they become a builder once they get off the plane. I'm an electrician. I'm a bricklayer, and never touched one in their life. But we get lots of those sort of people, but they don't seem to last long, unfortunately. So I'll put that out there. Okay, Dave. There you are. See, there's no dual nationality between the UK and Spain. So forget what I said. Just keep your British passport. But well done, Dave. We'll get together in November. Are there no reputable management agencies? Yeah. I presume there are, Rob. I can't think of anything offhand. Evening all. Okay, Kev. Sandra's coming again. You can't get dual nationality in Spain, so I'm completely wrong. Sorry about that, Sandra. I think your rights to return to the UK change if you get citizenship, as you have to give up your passport. Well, that sort of thing. I would never give up my passport, but some people do. I mean, that's up to you. That's up to yourself. When I returned to Australia, I couldn't get child benefit for my kids for a long period of time. I could remember, I think I read somewhere you can join the National Health and get benefits. You need them. I think you may be different if you're a pensioner, as S1 will. Yes. I mean, this is the thing. So, can you see me? I'll just keep that up a bit longer there, Sandra. I mean, I think I've got another 4 years before I can apply to be a Spanish citizen. Unfortunately, I can't see that happening somehow with my Spanish. That's not saying I can't stay here. I can still stay here. I'm still a resident of Spain. I still pay my taxes and things like that. I won't get kicked out. But as far as I know, and it's said on the UK Gov site, you can stay away as long as you like. Obviously, you've got to keep your passport. But yeah, don't give it up. But obviously, I've got the dual nationality thing wrong then. You can't work. Yes, that's very true. Especially if you come over from the UK now on a non-lucrative visa, you cannot work on that at all, guys. And also, I'm right in thinking to get a work permit has to be done by the people that's going to be giving you the work. So if you're in the UK, whoever's going to take you on as a employer or whatever, they have to do it for you. They have to apply for the visa. Now, obviously, if you get a gold visa, you can work here in Spain, but you've got to have over 500,000 to buy a property. Dear, that's next week's question. Is it okay to speak Spanish with a Mac? Yes, you can. Love the live IQ, but thank you. Next, you're a top man. I hope you'll find this real poncho. Sure, yes. Would you want to give up? No, I wouldn't. But some people do. I mean, some people want to. Some people want to do that. You know, they want to. I mean, especially I think if you've got a big job here in Spain, then you want to reap the benefits of that. And to be honest, from what I hear, the pension here is really good in Spain. I think you only got to work 15 years to get a full pension. I might be wrong, but this is what I hear. Yeah, those sort of things are attractive, but then you just don't know what's going to happen in life, do you? I mean, I think, honestly, my parents thought they're going to be living the rest of their lives here in Spain. But obviously, when things happen unexpected, like... I think, like we've always chatted when I go over the dog people. When we're talking, we've always said you can never say never. You know that we wouldn't return back to you. At the moment, I'm quite happy living there, but there might be a time where I can't get about or something, or my brain goes dually, and I think, I want to go back. And I've got the passport. I'll go back. Where I'd live, I do not know. Okay, Rob, Cornish accent. Claire, I heard there's been bad flies this year. Yeah, Claire, there's always you're going to get flies and mozzies wherever you are. I mean, I think the fly thing, even though I don't want to talk about it at the moment because I'm talking this questions of thing, but they've done some new fields over on B. They planted a load of potatoes, and I think what it done it because it disturbed the ground. See you next week, sure. Top man, John. Always keep your cards open. Yes, that's very true. Keep your options open. Yeah. Sandra's in the game. The Spanish are trying to bring in digital visa for young people to be able to live in low populated villages. Yes, this is something else that the president of Spain's been chatting about. He wants each village or something to have its own doctors and school and village shop. Will it be attractive? I don't know. I mean, obviously, what's been going on down at the islands with the volcano thing. That's going to take a huge chunk out of Spain's income to put that right. But yeah, that is something they've been talking about for a while, Sandra. It's true. Fires, not flies. Yeah, there's been bad fire. I think the fires have settled down in the south now. Thankfully, there hasn't been many fires around here, thankfully. Rob's doing his Spanish. Claire, okay. Fires around here? No, I haven't heard of no fires. We do get the odd earthquake, only a slight tremor, but fires, not as far as I know. Obviously, down near Malaga way, I think it's my ass way, they had a big fire right over the mountain. But Almeria, I think, as well, is another one. Top man, see you in the morning. It's not getting near that time, is it? Lovely. Thank you, Cheryl. Get the old Julie's in. Well done, great show. Not much better. Thank you, Stuart. Right, okay. Let's get on with the next one then. This might take a little bit longer than I thought. Looks like I might have some questions going to go on into next week, guys, because I still want to do it on the hour. How we doing? We got 4 minutes. Right. This is, I think, Terry and Sue, permits for underbuilds, are they fairly easy to obtain? And are they the same price across the board? I had a piece of paper on that because that's a bit of an issue, really. Okay. Now, as far as I know, on Campusol, the town hall do not issue any building permits. So officially, there's no building going on Campusol. Well, if you live on Campusol, you ain't got to go very far before you see a skip out in the road. Now, all I think they're doing is they're turning a blind eye to it. But when you come to sell your property, you have to have everything that's changed from the time you bought that property to the time on the sale. So if you build a pool, that you have to apply for a license. I'm not going to go into all the money, but here in Spain, bureaucracy is a bit nuts. Now, in some areas, they're really strict. And I know not far from here, in Alhama, they're really strict there. Anything that you do, you have to have a license for. Now, I picked up a message the other day off Facebook. This is for somebody that lives in Alhama. I'm on about Alhama de Murcia, which is only about a 30-minute drive away from here. And it says, Alhama Town Hall, seems the system has changed. They're charging me 50 euros per application. What she was trying to say was, she used to pay the town hall 50 euros a year for a license. And that means if she wanted to do some painting or her tap burst, you need a license for it. If you want to paint the wall, you need a license for it. Now, this is something that's not really talked about in Spain, something I didn't know about, and something I didn't really believe in, because really, but I've read reports where somebody's been painting their inside wall, they don't get on with their neighbour in an apartment, he's seen it, he's reported to the town hall, and you get fined for it. If you leave, if you got building stuff out in the garden and one of the officials walk by and see it, if you haven't applied for a building permit, you get done for it. Now, I'm not really going to say I don't understand the whole thing of this, but I do know that when you come to sell your property, if you've done some major major work, now obviously I've done major work, I will have to, if I wanted to sell this place, I think you got a time period, but if I wanted to sell it now, then I would have to get a license off the town hall. How much, I haven't got a clue. I don't think it's a huge amount, but obviously it can be if you get fined. And I know this is going to cause a major problem. and I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish on that point tonight. There's a couple other people I didn't get around to speaking about. I will talk about your questions next week, because I don't want to go over I've got a lot going on tomorrow. I want to keep this to an hour only, and I think everybody's enjoyed this, which is good. But obviously, Terry and Sue hasn't really answered your question, because each region, and it's not just each region, it's each frigging town. It's each town has its own little mayor. And I'm talking about, you know, mayor of the town sort of thing. They've got their own little what do you call it? No, I can't say the word. Their own little government, should say. So in some sense, living on campus, you don't have all these problems. But living down the road, I don't know if it's the same as the country club, or is it the same Condado? I don't know. I know obviously some places you can't even paint your house different. It's got to be white. The licensing here is a bit nuts. I'm just going to go through quickly because better format, Sean. Thank you. Works well. Maybe catch you tomorrow at the coffee cafe. Well done, Thomas. You might do. Is it true that expats become alcoholics? Well, I'm a tea drinker. Drink to that. Right, and okay, we're just going for it. So Terry, so I'm going to finish on that one. I know I really said a lot. It's something that you're going to have to go down to the town hall yourself to sort out and find out the information. Now, I know some people who have actually gone down to the Mazarron town hall. They've been told one thing and they've been told another. But as far as I know, they don't give out any. You're not allowed to do any building work at all. But it goes on, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, it does go on. Did you mean flies? We're clapping now. Haster, yes, and that. Yeah, thank you, Sandra. I'm glad you. Main thing, it's all about bit of fun. That's what it's all about. Nothing too serious. Thank you, Eric. You're top man. So anyway, it looks like I'm coming to the end of my show. Yes, it's gone that time. I'll put on the flashy thing. Yeah, the flashy thing's on now. Great show. Thank you much, guys. You know what? I haven't even looked at the amount of people that's on tonight. No, it's got Malcolm and Carol. Good. Thank you much, guys. So I'll see you next week. I've got some questions there as well, and I didn't finish all the questions tonight, but I will do. Thank you much, guys. Most appreciate it. I'll say stay safe. That's the main thing. And I'll see you next week. And I'm trying to find the bit that says adios. Anyway, adios, amigos. Catch you next time.